I drew a line on the screen on the article itself. So you end when you see the line, and then you can call the next one. Okay, so why don't we start with Peter?
Sure. Four means of embracing. There are numerous ways to deliver sentient beings in Buddhism. One being the four means of embracing, which refers to embracing all sentient beings with four practices: generosity, kind words, altruism, and empathy. According to the Avatamsaka Sutra, if one is able to accomplish the four means of embracing, one can bring all beings boundless benefits. The four means of embracing are practiced by bodhisattvas as skillful and expedient means to deliver all beings from ignorance to awakening according to each being's aptitude and disposition. For example, practicing generosity gives rise to favorable impressions. Praising others develops good camaraderie. Altruistic actions give others convenience. And an understanding friendship earns the trust of others. As the saying goes, first entice with desire, then lead into the Buddha's wisdom. These are ways that can liberate people to enter into Buddha's teachings.
Okay, call another person. Let's try Keith.
Generosity means to broadly form good affinities with others. In Buddhism, people often praise those who give as having boundless merits. Boundless does not refer to the amount of one's contribution, but the degree of their resolve. The more magnanimous one's heart, the more affinities are formed, as stated in the Diamond Sutra. When the bodhisattva gives without abiding in any notion, his merit is immeasurable. Give without attachment to the notion of giving, receiving, and what is given, nor with the expectation of gaining something in return. In this way, one experiences the emptiness of the three aspects of giving, which is truly pure giving.
Okay. Noriel, long time no see also.
Hi, good evening. Long
Evening.
time no see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So, thank you. Kind words are an art of speaking. Some people speak with hurtful words. Some speak hypocritically or dishonestly, and thus are unable to move others. Kind words are not expressions of flattery, adulation, hypocrisy, or nonsense. Praise should be given at the appropriate moment and in an inspiring manner. The language used for teaching lessons should inspire the listener to accept them, classify any doubts, and happily put them into practice. For instance, Zen master Zengai touched the heart of a novice monk who snuck out of the temple at night with a simple, "The night is cold, be sure to keep warm." In response, the novice monk swore off his playful ways and devoted himself to his practice. Likewise, Zen master Ryokan inspired his nephew to turn over a new leaf when he said, "I'm getting old and have trouble tying my shoelaces." When words are sincere and kind, can you scroll? Yeah. When words are sincere and kind, others will naturally feel and accept them.
We'll have Lillian.
Yes. So do I start from altruism?
Yes.
Okay. Altruism means to help others progress. A Chinese proverb says, one should give before one can take. Before influencing others, one must first serve others by helping them grow and improve, as well as give others supportive conditions so they progress and accomplish their goals. Moreover, doing good deeds, speaking good words, and thinking good thoughts are also altruistic acts. This can be as simple as explaining tasks to someone who does not understand or lend a helping hand to those in need. If one serves others sincerely and engages in beneficial practices with a joyous mind, then good causes and conditions will arise.
Okay. Let's have Stephanie.
Empathy means working with others. In society, people come together to form a party, community, or affiliation due to shared ideology. Similarly, if one wishes to embrace others as friends or colleagues, one must first find similar ideas and values to interact and work together. For example, when meeting an elderly farmer, engage in conversation about topics that are familiar to the farmer. When meeting a child, talk about subjects that children understand easily and find interesting. Whatever the others wish or like, put oneself in the other person's shoes and think in terms of their needs.
Okay, so we'll have the last one. How about Luisa?
Cooperation and coexistence in interpersonal relationships depend on shared affinities and ideals. When dealing with people and situations, one is only accepted by others through touching their hearts, bringing them joy, benefiting them, and giving them a chance to shine. It means not to demand that everyone be the same of oneself, whether they be friends, colleagues, family, spouses, or siblings. The four means of embracing help bring people closer together through loving kindness, compassion, and skillful means. It is a wondrous dharma that allows one to improve interpersonal relationships and provides a guideline on managing oneself and dealing with others.
Okay, so thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
When I read this article, I noticed that the four embracing are somewhat not so new for us. For example, we discussed about generosity few maybe months back, and then we've also discussed a lot about speaking good words, right? So generosity and kind words are both we're so used, we have discussed this so many times already, and maybe we've touched on altruism and empathy. So tonight, like I said, I only have one day to prepare, so I ask for your help, and maybe later you can share some of your experience or your ideas or what you have done to practice any one of these four, or maybe in case you have questions. I'm not saying that I can answer your questions, but we'll see, because questions is always interesting, right? So we may try to answer your questions also. Okay, so I'll start with my PowerPoint. I have to stop this first. And later, I hope some of you can share also on what you have learned from this. Okay. Okay. So 4 means of embracing. So what we have read so far Generosity give rise to favorable impressions. Kind words praising others develops good camaraderie. Okay. Altruism. Altruistic actions give others convenience. Empathy and understanding friendship earns the trust of others. So even for me, generosity is, yeah, we've talked about that. Kind words, we've talked a lot about that. But what is altruism? So I tried to look for its meaning. Unselfish regard for or devotion to the welfare of others. This is according to Webster. So altruism is like we always think of others, making it convenient for them. Our actions, our words, and everything is going to benefit them. Okay. Now, how about empathy? So same, I did check on Webster. The action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, or experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experience of another of either the past or present without having the feelings, thoughts, and experience fully communicated in an objectively explicit manner. After I read this, I thought I was reading a legal paper. So I tried to look for another shorter description of empathy. So the ability to sense other people's emotions coupled with the ability to imagine what someone else might be thinking or feeling. So I guess this is a little bit easier to digest. So we try to be in the other person's shoes and try to see what they're feeling and what they're thinking. Okay, so the two is quite similar. The first one is do our best to help them, other people, and then empathy is try to see it from their point of view. Okay. So what is generosity? According to the article, it is to broadly form good affinity with others. So that's why in the temple, we always do charity drive. And in fact, I asked Master Chelin a long time ago, Master, why do we always keep on giving these people and they just come here, they get whatever we're giving, and then they're gone. We don't see them until next year when we are about to give something again. So that's why he explained to me, we are just creating good affinity with these people. Okay. So in Buddhism, people often praise those who give as having boundless merits. Boundless does not refer to the amount of one's contribution, but the degree of their resolve. So even for me before, when I give, I'm very calculative, you know. I would calculate, oh, I already gave so much. I gave a few thousand. Oh, I gave a lot already, right? So the resolve there is so limited, right? So sometimes, well, over time, I've learned to sometimes not to calculate how much we have given. So if you are willing to give, you give happily, and that's it, regardless of how much or how little, right? Because sometimes we also feel so guilty. Oh, I only have so little to give. Is it worth it? Right? So we have doubts. We don't need to doubt. If that is all you can give, so be it, right? As long as you have the heart to give, that's it. So for many people, including me before, to give to relatives, To close friends, I put here skating because I have a lot of skating friends. It's easy, all right, because you have some affinity already. So for example, if we want to share food, oh, it's easy for us to share to friends. We invite them to good restaurant. But sometimes if we share to people we hardly know, let's go to this cheaper restaurant. Again, we start to calculate, right? But sometimes even if it's other people, as long as they are, you know, have some form of suffering, for example, they just had a calamity, for example, their house was on fire, the neighbor's house was on fire. So it's easier for us to give because we have maybe empathy towards their suffering. So in Buddhism, we try to learn to be generous to more and more people, right? So in short, from something very limited, we can only share or give to our friends, relatives, but we practice that and then it starts to grow beyond the people we know. So it grows to other people until it grows to anyone in the world. So in short, generosity is not as simple as giving to a few only. We can learn to make it grow. So the more magnanimous one's heart, the more affinities are formed. When a bodhisattva gives without abiding in any notion, his merit is immeasurable. I think we have discussed this also before, right? So give without attachment to the notion of giving, receiving, and what is given. So many times we give and then we have this notion, oh, my gift is so precious. So you expect the other person to be happy, and then when the person is not happy, then you get angry, you get sad, you have all sorts of emotion if your gift is not appreciated, because you have this certain notion of the gift as being precious. So in the practice of giving, we try to learn this giving without the notion of the giver, the receiver, and the gift, and not even the act of giving. Oh, I'm giving something good. Right? In this way, one experiences the emptiness of the three aspects of giving, which is truly pure giving. So in short, many people can practice this kind of generosity, but in Buddhism, this is somewhat limited yet. So we practice the emptiness of generosity. Okay? So we try to learn from the ordinary generosity to the emptiness kind of generosity. And the way I see it is, if we can learn the emptiness of generosity, we can become happier, because now our generosity and the happiness we gain from it will not be dependent on the reaction of the person, right? Many times we give and then we want the person to be happy, and then if they're not happy, then you're not happy also. So your giving itself, the happiness that you gain from it is dependent on the reaction of the person. Okay. The second aspect of the four embracing is the kind words. So we have discussed this also, and we have discussed in the Eightfold Noble Path, we have talked about the right speech. So what is right speech? No lying, no no slander, no harsh language, no frivolous speech, and no gossips. So in this article, it mentions a lot of other words, hurtful words, hypocritical, dishonesty, expressions of flattery, adulation, hypocrisy, and nonsense. So we try to avoid these things and do these things. Okay. Sincere and kind words. Praise should be given at the appropriate moment in an inspiring manner. Use for teaching lessons. Inspire the listener to accept them. Clarify any doubts. Happily put them into practice and allow people to accept them. You know, I remember before, even things like saying thank you, sorry, good morning. I have a difficult time saying these things, as simple as these things. So when I start frequenting the temple, so the master would always remind us that, oh, you have to speak good words. So what are speak good words? Saying good morning is speak good words. Saying sorry is speak good words. So, you know, this kind of reminder helps us to understand that, you know, such simple things, before, even for me, it's so hard, right? So it's good for us that we have masters who keep on reminding us, so we learn to speak good words, right? Very simple, but you know, you can make somebody's day better. So altruism, one should give before one can take. Before influencing others, one must first serve others by helping them grow and improve, as well as give others supportive conditions so they progress and accomplish their goals. So when I start reading this part of the article, I actually forgot the earlier part of the article. In the earlier part of the article, it mentions that these are the practices, the four embracing are the practices of bodhisattvas. So no wonder they do these things, right? They do things for others. So for me, this part of the four embracing is a little bit more difficult, right? So doing good deeds, speaking good words, thinking good thoughts are also altruistic acts. Altruism can be as simple as explaining tasks to someone who does not understand or lend a helping hand to those in need. So if there are, let's say in our work, if someone is having difficulty and you try to help them, that's altruism also. If one serves others sincerely and engages in beneficial practices with a joyous mind, then good causes and conditions will arise. So for me, especially before, well, even sometimes now, I would have this kind of question. If I do these three, right, do things for others, help others, what's in it for me? I always ask this kind of question. Why do I have to do this? I don't even know these people, right? Like I said, to do these things to our relatives, our friends, yeah, it's easy. But for others, you know, we always think like this. What's in it for me? Why do I have to do this? Right? But when we learn Buddhism, we know that when we do these things, we create good causes and conditions. And this is the one that will give us all the conditions that we may have for our own benefit. So if we understand, then we understand that doing any of these three is going to benefit us also. But if we don't understand the teaching, then we always think that these three is only to benefit others, not myself, right? I remember one time I was at the temple. It was still, I've been practicing for a few years only, but I told Master, I said, Master, you know, I don't want to work anymore in my office. I just want to come here at the temple and maybe help people who needs help here, maybe volunteer. You know, I was expecting the master to say, oh yeah, very good, you come here, you volunteer, you help here. But no, the master did not say that. The master asked me, you have a company, right? I said, yeah. And she asked, how many people do you have in your company? I said, I have more than 30, maybe 35, something like that. And these people, they have family, right? Yeah, I said, some have family, yeah. Some are still single, but several have their own family. And then she said, so you're helping them earn a decent living. So this gave me a totally different perspective. Why? Because before, whenever I go to work, I'm always thinking, I'm working for me. I'm working for me to earn money. These people are working for me to earn money. So everything is for me. So I don't have an inkling that the same thing I'm doing can actually be for them. So I don't understand altruism. So from then, it gave me a totally different perspective. And it gave me a chance also to explain to my people whenever they are lazy, whenever they're wasting things, I'm able to explain to them also. You know, I tell them, if you're always late coming to work, and then after a while, I may need to fire you, do you still need to find work? And they will say, yes. Oh, so you already have work now, and then you're not doing it well. And if you don't have work, you still need to find work. So why don't you do it well now while you still have work? So it's the same thing. So I'm able to better explain to them also on why they are working, right? And I'm able to explain this idea to my supervisor, and they're able to impart this to the workers, to the staff, especially in these times, during this past year, more than a year already, in this pandemic. My wife is so afraid for me to go out. I hardly go to office. I think I've been to office for the past year, maybe less than 10 times. But my people are working because they understand this. They understand that they need to work, right? Their work, they understand that their work is to benefit themselves also. It's not to benefit me. So I'm very happy that I learned this concept and I'm able to apply it in my work and in many other things that I do, so that no matter how, sometimes we have to do certain tasks and it's so menial, we don't want to do it, but we understand that it's going to benefit other people and ourselves. So then it will be easier for us to do things. Okay. So empathy means working with others. Okay. In society, people come together to form a party community, affiliation, due to shared ideology. Similarly, if one wishes to embrace others as friends or colleagues, one must first find similar ideas and values to interact and work together. So this is very common, right? So if we have the same idea with different people, with certain people, it's easier for us to affiliate with them, to work with them, to build a community with them, right? When meeting an elderly farmer, engage in conversation about topics that are familiar to the farmer. When meeting a child, talk about subjects that children understand easily and find interesting. This is something I'm not good at also, you know. Uh, Again, I always think, you know, having you know, random chit chat, I find it very difficult because, you know, again, I will start to think, you know, maybe I won't meet this person after this. So what's the point of getting to know this person? Something like that, right? But like what we've learned from the masters, every opportunity to meet people is an opportunity to create good affinity, right? So that's the key. Every good affinity that you created is going to create more good people around ourselves, as opposed to if every person you meet, you know, is you treat them as an enemy, then we are creating a lot of enemies in our life. So in our future life, you'll be wondering, oh, why everybody is always against me? Well, we haven't created good affinity, so you know, people are always against us. So this is one way that we can create a lot of good affinities in terms of other people who we don't really know. I still need to practice this. I'm not good in you know, talking to strangers. Whatever the others wish or like, put oneself in the other person's shoes and think in terms of their needs. So this one, I'm able to practice this a bit. For example, again, going to the workers or maybe our housemaid, sometimes if they make mistake, I always try to think that maybe, you know, they haven't tried this before, or maybe they're not used to paying attention, right? So as a result, I'm able to not be angry with them even if they keep on doing the same mistake. As opposed to before, I would probably call them stupid or something like that, or why you cannot learn? I've told you how to do this 3 times already, but now we already realize, right? So many things that the master teach us, how many times they have taught us, and still we forget what they taught, what the master taught, and we still do some things we're not supposed to do, right? So same thing with us. And now you're angry with someone else, right? So sometimes I'm able to do that. So another idea we learn in the first noble truth, that there is in life, there is suffering. So many times, if we try to think that everyone has some form of suffering in life, then it will be easier for us to empathize with them, because we know from the Four Noble Truth that in life there are a lot of suffering. So chances are the people we meet have some form of suffering in their life. Okay. So this is one way for me to help try to understand them instead of always getting angry at them. Okay, so 4 means of embracing. For me, I made this to have an arrow because, like I said, from here, generosity to kind words, these are easier, and then it gets more and more difficult. I don't know with you guys, but that's how I feel about this. For embracing, altruism is like we need to open our hearts to other people. So I put this icon. And then empathy is we try to see the other side of the person, from the side of the person. So I put this icon. So it's something that for us to learn, to progress with, right? Okay, so before this, in the article, it talked a bit on Master Senkai, and Master Ryokan. I researched on those stories, so just in case you don't know those stories, so the first story, Master Senkai, he has a pupil who is studying with him. Okay, now one of that student, although he is studying at a temple, but he still cannot let go of his old ways, going out, partying. So even if he's in the temple already, every night or every so often, he would go out of the temple by climbing over the wall. Okay, and then Master Senkai realized this, and he saw the stool that the young monk would put on the wall so that he can climb over the wall, and then after he party, he will come back, he can come in through that wall. So what happened is Master Sengai waited for this student, so he removed the stool, and instead he sat there and waited for his student to come back. So when the student come back, when he climbed down the wall, he stepped on Master's head and shoulder and was surprised that the stool is no longer there. Right? So of course he discovered that it was his master, but Master Senkai just told him, the night is cold, make sure you keep warm. So even with that situation, the master is still able to say kind words. I'm sure if it's me, I would be even more angry for him stepping on my head. Maybe at best I cannot say anything anymore, but I'll be fuming mad, right? So you know, the master, they have, of course, they've practiced, right? And then they understand this for embracing, so they're able to do this with their wisdom. They can say something nice that is very relevant, to a point that the pupil never went out anymore after that. So based on that very compassionate words, instead of being angry, right, the student was touched, right? If the master is angry, then maybe the student will be afraid to get caught again. So he might try to find ways that he will not be caught, right? Or he may not go out of fear, instead of understanding the compassion, right? And the other story is Zen Master Ryokan. So he is in a temple and far away from his family already. So, but one day he received a letter from his family asking for him to return and teach his indolent nephew. Again, this nephew, I don't know what he's doing, but you know, he is a troublesome nephew. So Master Ryokan, despite his advanced age, he's very old already, he took a 3-day journey and returned to his hometown. Okay. And when he met his nephew, the nephew was so happy to meet him, and the nephew invited him to stay for the night. So Master Ryokan stayed for the night, rested, and then the next day, when he was ready to leave, he bent down to try to tie his shoelace, and with his trembling hands, his nephew also noticed that Master Ryokan cannot tie his shoes with his trembling hands. So the nephew immediately bent down and helped him tie his shoes. And after that, Master Ryokan patted his nephew on the back and said, "Thank you. I'm getting old and useless and have trouble tying my shoelaces. Take good care whilst you are young and what you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to and be a good man." So after that, Master Ryokan just left without glancing back, and his nephew was inspired to change his indolent ways just for those words. So again, this is an example of a kind words that was able to touch someone's life to a point that they really change, right? Here's another story I found while searching for this. So again, this is Master Senkai. So he was meditating under a tree, and this samurai saw that the master always meditate under this tree. So this samurai thought of teasing the master. So one day he climbed up the tree before the master started meditating. So he hid up the tree, and then when the master started meditating, he tried to bother the master. He tried to startle the master. But the master, while meditating, was not bothered at all, did not say anything. To a point that this samurai got tired and left. And then the next day, when the samurai, what he did, so the next morning, the samurai wanted to visit Master Senkai. And so he was ushered to the master's room. And when he was about to get into the room, the master shouted, "Aha, the ghost!" So this startled the samurai, and the samurai shouted. So the master just laughed at him. He laughed at the he said the ghost who is now startled. So this is just a funny story that sometimes the samurai who is very mischievous, he's the one who can easily be startled, right? But the master, with his very calm mind and calm heart, no matter what he did, he cannot be startled, right? So maybe it doesn't relate to this topic tonight, but it's just a bit funny. Okay. So my last slide. Okay. So for my last slide, what we learned today, it was summarized also in the article. So cooperation and coexistence. So our relationships depend on shared affinities and ideals. So the more good affinities we create, then the more cooperation and coexistence we will have with more and more people. Dealing with people and situations, one is only accepted by others through touching their hearts, bringing them joy, benefiting them, and giving them a chance to shine. Okay, so it will be easier for us to deal with people if we do these things. Friends, colleagues, families, spouses, or siblings, not to demand that everyone be the same as oneself. Help bring other people closer together through loving kindness, compassion, and skillful means. So even like my 3 daughters, they have, each of them have different skills. One is interested in certain things, different things. So this idea to not compare and do not demand that everyone be the same also helped me in how I treat them, right? So everyone will have their own strength and we just try to work on that. And the wondrous dharma, so allows one to improve interpersonal relationship and provides a guideline on managing oneself and dealing with others. So the dharma that we learn will benefit us in a way that allows us to manage not only ourselves but on how we can deal with people. Okay, so I think it's a very nice topic, not very deep, right? So anybody wants to share something, wants to share what they've learned, or maybe have some questions? Anyone?
I'll go first. If no one's gonna go, I'll go.
Yes, thank you.
This one is regarding empathy. So when you spoke about empathy, it reminded me of last week we learned about Samantabhadra's ninth vow, which is to oblige all sentient beings, have regard for the perspectives and need of sentient beings. So reminded me of this time in the morning. I'll be doing my chanting in my little temple, and then my girlfriend would walk in while I'm chanting, and I'll be like, "What?" I was in my head. I was like, "What are you doing?" You obviously can see that I'm chanting. So she moves on and goes to the temple, like on the table, and then she removes the flower because she wants to change the water inside the flower. And as Erwin alluded to, the anger builds up. And I was just thinking from my perspective, I cannot fathom why you be doing this at this specific time. You can be changing the flower, the water of the flower at any time of the day.
The flower wouldn't even complete, right?
She seems to have picked the absolute perfect moment for me to go like, this is just the wrong time. But as you know, you're chanting, and if you observe your heart, if you observe your mind, and you're like, oh, anger is arising, you know that you're doing something wrong. So go like, okay, how do I solve this affliction? So as Erwin taught in today's class, and Samantha Badra's ninth vow, to regard for the perspective and the needs of sentient beings. So then quickly I thought, okay, what is she thinking? What is in her mind? What world was she living in? And as I observe her while I'm trying to get angry and chanting all three things at the same time, I saw her just really happy, you know? Like she took down the flower, she put more water in, and then she offered the flower to the Buddha, you know, to the temple. And I'm going like, wow, she's doing such a great, you know, as part of the Samantha Bhadra's vows, offering to the Buddha.
Yeah.
So why am I here angry? Why someone is offering to the Buddha, respecting the Buddha, and I'm trying to get angry at her? That doesn't seem quite right. So obviously, I was in the wrong. So I didn't raise it with her, but it was frustrating. She did it 2 times. I still don't know why she picked that time. But I guess what I felt was there's something magical, absolutely magical happens when you see it from someone else's perspective. That you realize your initial thoughts. Well, I thought my initial thoughts were just my thoughts from my own causes and condition. And after seeing it from their perspective, you go like, no, my thoughts are wrong, right? Instead of just me, it should be us. What is the best case scenario for us? So there is something special when you think it from other people's perspective.
Yes.
Thanks.
Well, you're talking about your experience that she's, you know, you're chanting and she came to the altar or whatever that is there. In my mind, a thought arise already that she's doing it on purpose. It arises already in my own mind that she's doing it on purpose, trying to disturb you. So, you know, we really have to learn to think good thoughts so that these things doesn't arise, right? So now after your whole story, I think the reason why she does it when you're chanting is maybe she gets reminded whenever you start chanting, oh, I have to fix the flower. So it's like an alarm clock for her. Oh, now it's a time to fix the flower. So without any negative notion to disturb you or to, you know, it's just like, oh, okay, I have to do this. Right. Any more comment or questions you might have? Or questions? Actually, in my case, I would have the same, not necessarily even when chanting, but for example, we're in quarantine, right? So almost every day I'm with my wife, as opposed to during work days, she will be working in their family's business, I'll be in my own business, so we hardly see each other. But so today, in these times, I go down to the living room and she will be there, she will be working, but every now and then she will have something to do, ask me something to do something, go out and get something, whatever, so many things. So many times I also get annoyed, frustrated, or any kind of negative emotion. So what I do is I come up here in my room when she's downstairs, and then when I don't know what's happening with her, maybe she missed me, so she will come up here to the room, and then I go down to the living room. So at least there is some distance. Otherwise, when she comes here, she will have so many instructions for me to do things. So sometimes we just try to stay away. But every now and then I still go down, and she will always ask me to make her coffee and things like that. So I'll do that and then come up here. Especially the last 2 days, yesterday and today, I come up here and work on this PowerPoint. Yeah.
You're a good husband, preparing coffee for your wife.
I try to. That's so easy. That's one thing that I mentioned. Sometimes, if it's before, I would have probably told her, you can always tell the maid to do it for you, or your coffee machine is supposed to be a smart coffee machine. You can press on your phone what you want, and it will just do it for you. Why do you have to ask me?
Of course, it's different.
But now, yeah, because of what we learned from the master, sometimes, it's so simple, you just press a few buttons and that's it. So why don't you do it and make her happy,
Yes. You're creating good affinity with her.
Yeah. So something I've learned also from the master, and to
Yeah.
accept even menial tasks,
Mm.
just to make other people happy. Yeah.
Right.
Because sometimes, remember, we think, oh, I'm a boss. Why are you asking me to make a coffee? Because we have this impression that, oh, you're a boss, you need to do something that is, whatever. And you don't want to do menial tasks anymore. So at least
But you see, small things count,
True. Yeah. But still, remember, I'm still not a bodhisattva. Yeah, so I can identify with Peter, your experience. Any more?
Erwin, Paul asked the question in the chat.
Oh yeah, my chat was off. What did he ask? How can we practice the four means of embracing to people who have wronged us and hurt us, especially in the family, with friends and colleagues? Okay, from my own perspective or understanding, okay, if people wrong us, again, if you understand causes and condition, then we know that sometime in the past, and maybe in the past life, we have wronged this person also. So if that is the case, that's how we think, then it will be easier for us to accept this person, even if we think that he is wrong now in this life. Right? So that's for me. I mean, again, it's not easy to always think that way, especially if it could be the what the person did is really bad. But that's how I see it. In fact, I have a friend who's like that also. So somebody did something wrong to him, something like, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago already. But up to now, he keeps on talking about these things and these things and these things. So can you imagine? It's been decades, and that's what is inside his heart. He said he already let go, but the fact that he keeps on talking and bringing this back, I know he didn't let go. Right? How about others? Do you have any suggestion on this specific question? Because yeah, chances are some of you might have this kind of experience.
I know someone who has this hatred because of her mother-in-law. That was long time ago. And then until now, she's already old. She still carry it right now until now, and she still angry and bitter. And I think it's so pitiful that she lives her life and keep on thinking about the past and cannot move on. It's hard to go by every day with hatred. Yeah, it's pitiful, but cannot change even if you have told her several times, you advised her several times not to think about the past, but it's too late. The mind is already ingrained in her subconscious. And
So
I don't
it's
know,
very strong already.
very strong. It's very hard to the right view and eliminating ignorance is very important. No, knowing the dharma. If there's dharma, there's a way. So it helps us overcome this kind of afflictions. Yeah. Nakakaawa rin. She's so pitiful that she cannot let go, and she's living a life of anger and hatred nandun pa sa loob, no? How can you do that every day? Right? Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Why don't you live happily every day? Same. Happy is a day, sad is a day, angry is a day. So you can choose which one do you want to. No
My,
peace of mind.
something similar to what Paul is asking actually happened to my dad. His own brother, they put up a business together, but ultimately his own brother said that this business is his. So ultimately my father got nothing out of that business. But my father's brother, he went on to create another business, but after several years, ultimately what happened, his own son got his own business, so he ended up with nothing also. So you can see karma works, and in this case it worked within his lifetime. Now this happened a long time ago, and I can say that even my dad does not practice Buddhism. He has some Buddhist heart, I would say, because when my uncle wanted to leave Philippines, he wants to go to Hong Kong. It was my father who helped him buy him a ticket to Hong Kong. And just recently, last year, I was talking to my dad. I talked to him about this. He forgot about this story already. So in short, he is not keeping tab of what he did. He did not keep tab of what his brother did to him. That's why when his brother needs help, he was able to help without any complaints or whatever, because he did not keep tab of what his brother did to him. And now he helped his brother, and he did not keep tab of that also. So no notion of helping his brother. That today, I remember that because I was with him when he helped my brother. I was there in Manila. My uncle was there. So I know about that story myself. When I asked him, he completely forgot about that story. So no notion of helping, right? So my dad is a happy person, despite what his brother did to him. Okay. Maybe Lilian, you have something to share about our topic for tonight?
Yes. Okay. Recently, I actually lead a group of senior ladies to do morning exercises. And recently, one of the old ladies, her age is somewhere around in her 70s. She started to say a lot of funny things in the chat group. At first, a lot of them was starting to get very impatient with her for talking so much nonsense. Like, for example, we just had an exercise session in the morning. Then she asked, hey, did you come out for exercise this morning? She forgot that she also joined the exercise. Then eventually, as time goes on, I realized that she could be suffering from dementia, where she forgotten of some of the things that she had done before. So I told the rest of the other ladies, I said sometimes we need to be patient with her because I think she may have some problem. Let us be more caring towards her and ask and offer our help. If she has forgotten, just let's take it lightly and say something pleasant. And then sometimes when when it's a Sunday, we did not do exercise, she will ask, tomorrow I'll see you all tomorrow morning. So after I explained to the ladies, they started to feel more empathy towards this lady. Then one of them came and approached me one day. She says, Lilian, I think it's because of your spiritual background that you are able to understand or put yourself in somebody's shoes. I said, yes, because we will also grow old one day. So let's share some compassion and show our loving kindness to her and help her. So although she still continue, talking a lot of things, but we learn to bear with her.
Yeah.
And I think everyone also like learn something from here.
Yes.
That's what I want to share.
Very nice story, and this kind of story also reminds me that when we have children, young children, when we play with them, they always, if they're so happy, they will always ask you to repeat whatever you're playing or whatever you're saying. You're saying some funny things again, they will say again, then they don't know how to say again, they will say then. So in the same way, when we're old, we will be like the children. We keep on repeating because we cannot remember. So I also remind my kids these things, so I also tell them that when you're young, we hold your hands. When we're old, you hold our hands, okay? So these things, again, I also learn from the masters, and I try to impart to them so that they will know also, right? Any more?
I'm not sure. I feel like this is a personal thing, but I don't know if I should talk about this.
It's up to you. If you feel fine to talk about it, go ahead.
What's this? My mom and dad split up, and the past few every twice or three times a month, I have nightmares of my dad being violent towards me. And I'm glad that they separated. Right now, my mom is talking about what my dad's doing, like that, and always saying bad things about my dad. But I feel like I don't want to. I don't want to see him. For me, he's not like a father. And my brother is here. And what's this? My brother. Chuck, what are you doing? Okay. For me, I don't want to even see him when he's dead or when he passes away or something. So I don't know how to forgive something like that or what to feel or anything. So if some advice, I don't know if I should talk about this, but yeah, maybe it would help if someone would give advice.
Yeah. Sometimes it's really difficult because, like I said, sometimes we're not that enlightened to understand other people. Sometimes we're not used to being in other people's shoes, so it's very difficult. So sometimes it will really take time for us to understand what we're going through. Okay, so hopefully over time, you will be able to observe more and understand more. Get my point? So maybe you don't understand now, but hopefully in the near future, by maybe learning more from the masters, you'll be able to understand better the situation. Okay. And yeah. How about others? Do you have, yeah, Peter?
Hello. Hi, good evening.
Go
Hello
ahead, Neil.
po. Um, I think I'm always trying my best to practice the 4 means of embracing with my students. Yeah. But they're lucky it's online because after embracing, I might strangle them if they don't behave themselves. Okay, but every time, okay, I can see, that was okay. So I think the 4 means of embracing is letting us or giving us a chance or a means how to create more affinities and connections with people rather than, you know, hurting them, hurting others, or creating more enemies. So, for example, there are certain scenarios or things that might have hurt me or something that will bother me. Um, I want to feel alive. So I feel my feelings. If I want to be angry, if I want to be impatient at that moment, I would want to be. But knowing that it's just not enough to be impatient and angry at that point, I will give it some time so that I will be able to let it go. Yeah. But because I want to feel alive, I want to be I want to feel the emotions of being alive. So I will be angry at times, I will be impatient at times, I will be happy at times, I would feel generous at times, but nonetheless everything is not permanent, even my feelings. So by looking at this 4 means of embracing, I'm trying my best to understand the situation in a bigger picture. So for example, if certain students, for example, are really misbehaving during an online class, my gosh, first time with Zoom, or they really cannot get something. When I was just new in teaching, I was like impatient with them because I was, why? Why are these people like this? But then I realized that that's the reason why they enrolled. They don't know. And that's why I am a teacher. So that's my job to help them know. And initially, I felt impatient with them. And I was like, oh, there's something wrong with my feelings towards them. Because instead of helping them, I'm thinking about bad thoughts about them. Like, they don't know. They're so slow. I'm so impatient. But then I realized that, oh, it's their chance to learn. And for example, if somebody asks you, what's the subject that you dislike the most? For me, that would be, sorry, daming Chinese tito, math. I don't like mathematics. So if I don't like something, then there's a certain hesitation or a certain percentage that I'm not willing to do it. But maybe some of my students also experienced those, and I did not understand them or I did not empathize with how they were feeling at first. That's why I was angry. And I was even telling the clients, please don't give me these kinds of students. But then I realized that it is an opportunity for me to help them to improve on a particular skill. And it's not their fault that they're slow because they're still learning. That's why they're there. So I was so fast to judge the situation, to judge the people. But then I realized that it was my mistake in the first place. Because instead of helping them, I was trying to stop myself from connecting with them. And if, you know, I just can't practice the 4 means of embracing, then I think all of the misunderstandings, all the judgments, and all of the impatience around me can be resolved either by embracing or letting them go so that I won't suffer as well because my feelings are my own responsibilities. So whatever I feel, it's all in me. If I, for example, if somebody gives you a gift and you don't take it, the gift remains with the giver. So if I'm angry and they don't care about it, maybe they don't understand, then at the end of the day, I might be the one super stressed and not them. So at the end of the day, I will still be suffering. So through the 4 means of embracing, I'll be able to look at a situation in a bigger picture and a wider perspective. But like what I've said earlier, I want to feel alive. So I cannot be perfect and I cannot be always feeling good all the time. But after attending this talk tonight, I think I will be able to apply this one step at a time with, you know, in my daily life so that I will improve the affinities that I have. Yeah, and also I will not suffer the consequences of judging people, of judging the situation. Because at the end of the day, I might not know everything. And what seems to be a problem now might be something that's teaching me a lesson. Yeah.
I'm sure, Amiel, that if you're not hungry, you're still alive. Now you just think that when you're hungry, you're alive.
I just wanna feel like I wanna feel the emotions of being alive. But I know it's not good. And if I'm thinking of merits and demerits, I know if I'm angry, that's demerit for me. So I will be like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? I cannot sing Let It Go right now because but I realized that before when a certain person or a certain student, for example, will be misbehaving or will be too slow, I'm like setting up that barrier, like defense mechanism in dealing with them. But later on, I realized that I want to embrace them. So I noticed with my classes, I wasn't feeling stressed if there is a first timer with Zoom there. But, you know, it becomes a fun class. So if they want to rowdy during the class, I will also be rowdy. But we finish the class, we're all happy.
So
And
your students love you more now.
yeah, and I have a lot of them now.
That's good.
It's a little bit stressful. I just talked for 4 hours before this sessions. I'm like, I will embrace this. They're so lucky to be online. Like that.
That's
The
good.
ego
That's good.
factor. But yeah,
So
there means of embracing, understanding the situation, not because of my judgments, but because of how everyone is, you know, is situated in that situation in a bigger context.
yeah, so that's nice about your example right now, and also Peter's example earlier. Wherein when we study Buddhism, we try to see our action against what we've learned, and then because of that, we can see through our mistakes. And when we see through our mistakes, we're able to correct it, right? As opposed to if we always think that we're always right, then there's no way for us to change or to fix that mistake. Okay.
It's like
Now,
Right.
I'm very happy that
perceiving the problem.
Master Chi is here. Sifo, you want to share something?
Kishan,
I don't
Kishan.
know what's the topic, but it's okay.
For embracing Sifo.
But I think
Generosity, kind words.
the sharing is very lively. That everybody share your own experience and to encourage each other. I think one of the enlightened person tonight that is Mr. Amiel, like what he said after 2 nights talk, he enlightened. But of course, I hope the enlightened is not because of, and he said that he has more students now. Not because I don't think it's because of because I saw his Facebook, he put a lot of cream, lotion, because he said that it's already 30 and above, so he has to taking care of the skin. That's why Master Yulin sent another message here is from the heart, not from the skin.
Skincare Shifu.
So I think the most excited for humanistic Buddhism is really in our daily life. The more we study, the more we studied it is just a knowledge. After the knowledge, we have to practice it. If not, there is always the wisdom of the Buddha, not ours. Always the wisdom of Reverend Master Xing Yun always belongs to 4-1 sons, but not you, not me, not us. So we really have to study it, read it, but practice it is most important. And like what Irvin mentioned, when he wants to have any emotions, then he will think of Master. Then he will think of Buddha. But the first step is, before think of this, he already start to have the awareness that there is emotions. If we never aware our emotion, whether I like, jealous, hate, angry, if we not aware of these emotions, there's no second step. So that's why the meditations. But how can we have this kind of awareness? That is from our daily practice for our meditations. After we come down, then our mind is not in the dark, not in the mud or not in any dirt. Then we can see ourselves clearly. I think one of the best of humanistic Buddhism, that is self-reflections. Reflect ourselves of what we do for one whole day. Then we make a vow. It's just like self-reflections, repentance. Then the next is making a vow. Tomorrow, the vow of Bodhisattva is too big at this moment for us. So what we can do, small by small, I think the wisdom of Reverend Master Xing Yun that is practice the 3 acts of goodness, the San Hao. Do good deeds, think good thoughts, say good. Do good deeds, say good word, and think good thoughts. And 四给, forgive. Give people. The moment when we give, what kind of initiative we want to give? We want to give because I'm better than you, or because I love to share. I want to give because I have more than you, so I should be higher than you. So when you receive, you should respect me. So what kind of initiative then when we want to give? The forgive. It's just like the 4 embracings that is supposed to be tonight's topic. Are we?
No, for embracing.
Are we discuss? Do we discuss? No.
Tonight's topic is for embracing, yes.
Yeah. So from there, how we train ourselves. I really, there's one, because I always thought that I always have this, how should I say, reflections every day. But because I'm very busy. So there's one time when I attend the Nantian Institute, the course, one of the journal requested by the speaker, that is what is your goal for every day? Since I'm a Shifu, so to me, that is 5 precepts, because the topic is about 5 precepts. So among the 5 precepts, which one you want to practice for this one whole week? And then of course the first one, not killing. I'm very sure in the beginning when we hear this word, we will say, I will not kill people. I try not to kill the cockroach. I try not to do this. Then suddenly there's something sudden come to my mind. Actually, I kill myself every day. Why? Because of emotions. Under the stress, I kill myself. I kill the body. I kill the cell. When I stress, when I have emotion, when I'm angry. Then when I have this awareness, so when I make a vow, okay, for this whole week, one of my precepts is no killing. That is, I shouldn't kill myself. When times to eat, times to eat. When time to sleep, time to sleep. It's so simple, and yet it's so difficult. Am I right? Especially now at this moment during the pandemic, that especially now, especially in Manila, it's getting worse ECQ and ECQ keep on lockdown, and then temple, Mambuai temple totally close. We direct announce, close it. We close everything. Then that is the time for the devotees. At the same times, they also stop to thinking of, should I go and greet Sifu? Should I send this to Sifu? And then they're very busy. So we let them stop it, stop everything. We really stop everything. And only Weber Yuling only order the vegetable once a week. That's all for one whole week. And then we try to minimize all this kind of visiting or whatever, so that to practice help the devotees. We need to think for their health. So no killing, start from ourselves. I'm very sure that all of us know this body, combination of how many cells, Mr. ML? How many thousands or billions of the cell that been built up for us, especially if taller, there's more. Who's the taller amongst here? I think I'm not so tall, so okay. Maybe Louisa not so tall, so maybe not so much. But I think maybe Peter or Lillian or Irvin, you are tall.
No,
then
I'm average.
Huh?
I'm just average, Sifu.
Now it's time to average. Okay, so we can make it from here. The topic of every week, we keep on rolling and rolling. But which one is make you sudden enlightened? Remember it forever. So I'm not sure if you remember about the face of the Guan Yin Pusa that I asked all of you really think about it. The first one is Lillian, because on that day she really calmed down. So just one, even just one. Just like Amitabha has a great bow. Even just one time with sincere you chant his name, you can go to his Pure Land already. How great of his vow. But why we still not there yet? Maybe our sincerity is not yet enough. Some people, there's some time when we say, I should go now, I should die now. So then we make a joke and say, oh, I'm so sorry. Your karma is not enough for you to die now. Sorry, you have to continue to return the merit, transfer the merit, and then collect more merit so that you can clear all your debts. Sorry, you have too much debt, so you have to stay in this hard world yet. It's just a joke, but only you and me understand. This kind of joke is really kind of enlightened for us to remember. Don't think much when I will go. Don't think too much that will I die during this pandemic, or don't think that it's so poor thing for those who die during pandemic. No, we should say that whatever, it's time for them to go. We just greet them. Of course, if they are very close to us, of course we will say that maybe we feel not so happy because we have to depart with them. We have to be aware with them, and they have to go now. So just greet them. I think even like what I shared last night about the Christian. One of the Christian that I really inspire me also. After die, they are happy because they wait for the gods to come and bring them. Am I right? Right. Yes, Irvin and Amil.
Yeah, I think so.
That's why in Philippines, this really happen in Israel. You cannot see this one in Malaysia, Lydian. I very guarantee you cannot see this one in the Isan, that they can be cooking there, they can singing there. I don't think it never happened in Malaysia, but it really happened in Philippines because they're waiting for the God to come and bring them to the heavens. So they're waiting, so they're happy, so they're happy ending. Some in Philippines, even during the funeral, they singing. They have the concert. I don't think for Malaysia, I don't think we sing karaoke during the funeral, right? It cannot be happen. But that is different culture. So that is how we mix it with ourselves. the good things. I mean, we cannot say the Christian is not good, the Buddhism very good, and only Buddhism. No. There are many things that we can see how we absorb it. But of course, you need to remember, you are Buddhist, you are practice humanistic Buddhisms, just how you using the other culture to help you to become a better Buddhist. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Sefo. That's very enlightening also. So it's
I had a sudden enlightenment.
33
Sudden
already.
realization.
Good for you. Good for you. It's 9:33 already. So
Sheila, you want to say something?
yes, Sheila, you've been cutting off. Your internet is bad or what?
Are you going to say something? You
PLDT.
are connecting. No.
PLDT.
Sheila, Master is asking if you want to share something.
My internet has been really bad this evening. If you notice, I was going in and out maybe like 10 times.
Yeah, that's why.
If I wanted to share something on just on in general.
Yeah. To end for the night.
To end for the night. I was gonna speak on altruism.
Yeah.
But we have a short window. But I always remember during my first job after graduation, I had a really nice boss. And I always remember how she welcomed like new employees. So I feel that every time we welcome somebody at the temple or welcome somebody in a new job or a new employee, we should always try our best to make that person feel welcome through, introducing them to co-employees, introducing them to the managers, introducing them to the clients. Because if they know more people, they're more likely to stay, and it's also very good for the company. The company will, have strong affinities, and from there, we will do a good job, and maybe we will benefit other people through the first act of kindness when we first entered the workforce. So it's a spillover of domino effect. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, so that's a good example of doing something good for someone and you'll see the return, right?
Because it's very awkward when you first start and you don't know anybody and you feel out of place. But it only takes one person to, connect you with the rest of the company. And then once you do that, you feel like more comfortable and at ease and at home.
Okay, anyone else wants to share something? Joe, you have something to share?
Well, kind words probably. You don't want to call somebody stupid. You probably tell him he's less brainy. Or you probably tell him he's a late bloomer. Yeah. It may mean the same thing. So, well, let me share about generosity. Generosity usually is interpreted as something like giving, which is the obvious, which is charity, alms, donations, and all that stuff. But generosity can also doing something which you feel is going to be beneficial to the one you're giving to, in terms of, for instance, I deal with a government. I delivered a machinery and has not been paid for the last almost 3 years. But then the equipment did not function yet. Administrative concerns. But anyway, I really pity that the equipment is lying idle. I had to go to Camotes and really ensure that the equipment is running. And now it's running. It's benefiting the farmers in Camotes. So I feel happy. Notwithstanding the non-payment, but I'm just concerned that the farmers should be should take advantage of the technology and improve their productivity. So, in a sense, I thought that was a practice of generosity. But I just really wanted to, let that equipment go to waste. So while it's, instead of lying idle, it should serve its purpose. So, and I enjoyed my trip in the island as well. So probably
That's so nice of turning around a bad situation into something positive, right? So again, sometimes it's difficult to turn around a bad situation, but in this case, you've just shown it to us that in a single thought and action, it became an act of generosity, right? So good for you, good for the farmers, and I'm sure something will come back in return.
Well, I was hoping the governor would hear of it and probably she might decide to pay me.
Yeah, that's why. Not only that, you get more deals from other better paying institution or whatever, right? So hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully it will be, people will learn of it, and then they might just decide to have one on their own barangay. So
yeah, that's true.
Maybe that's the upside of it. So, well, anyway, that's not the primary purpose. The primary purpose really was to make it run and let the farmers take advantage of it. Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much for your sharing. That's a very nice way of, again, turning a bad situation into good. Okay, yeah. So it's 9:40 already, so I guess we have to end this. And if anyone has something to share, you can always share in our chat group. That would be nice. Okay, so for now, yes, Sefo.
Maybe we just read the 4 verses together instead of playing the music, because it took a little bit longer.
Hear man, Sefo, if we say it together.
Yeah, we just read it together.
Yeah. What I do is I read it in my mind.
My dear, you have to show to us the screen. If not, the first one will be Stephanie. She lost it.
who will speak Sefo?
Huh?
Because if we cannot,
you take out the music.
Yeah, who will lead in reading?
No, we read it together.
Okay.
Okay, so we join palm. May kindness,
compassion, joy and equanimity
pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build affinities
to benefit all beings.
May chant pure land and precepts inspire equality and patience.
May our humility
and
gratitude give rise to great vows.
Okay. Picture first before you leave.
And screens first.
Those people.
Unshare first.
Turn on your camera.
Avin, you have to unshare.
Yes. Wait, I cannot find my share button. Okay, there. Okay, no more camera. Camera shy. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. Lotus flower.
Thank you. Lotus. Thank you.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yes. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Venerable. Thank you,
Good
everyone.
evening. Bye-bye.
Continue
Thank you,
sharing your
Venerable.
experience.
Thank you, everyone.
very much.
Thank you. See you.
See you again.
Take care,
Bye.
everyone.